Well, Dr. Sarah Russell is the Director of Aged Care Matters and joins us now. Sarah, these numbers out today do appear really worrying. What do you make of them?
Well, first of all, it's fantastic that we've had some financial transparency. This was something the Royal Commission asked for, and it's taken nearly 2 years to get it. So it's really good that we've got these numbers. They've still got a long way to go to actually get full transparency in how aged care providers are spending the government money, but this is a great start. Now, we've got 34% of aged care providers making a profit, and it would be very interesting to know which ones they are, which companies are making a profit, what their standards of care are like, because we need to know more about how this government money is being spent.
Doctor, anyone with someone in care knows that aged care is bloody expensive. If providers really aren't making a profit, where is all the money going?
Well, it's very interesting. I would love to know. One of the figures in this report that really stood out to me was the average amount of money being spent on food in aged care homes is $12.40 per resident per day. Now, I asked your cameraman how much money he spends per day on food, and he spends about $40 a day. I mean, $12.40, that's about 3 cups of coffee. And, you know, I think that's appalling, particularly given the previous government gave each provider $10 a day extra.
Dr. Russell, I do ask this respectfully. I had breakfast this morning in a nursing home with my father. I'm not trying to sort of defend the system or the care homes, but you do see very clearly how stretched these facilities are just to meet the standards that they've now got to meet. You know, the frequent testing, the spot checks, all the rest of it. Doesn't it make it even harder for them if suddenly they're having to turn over to the public every detail about every dollar that's spent that's paid for by us?
Well, you know, maybe we disagree about that, Hamish. I mean, my mother was also in an aged care home, and, you know, I was very interested in how my taxes were being spent on the care. You know, I've been doing this now for 7 years, and I've seen a lot of horror stories where we've seen, you know, for example, the previous funding model, some aged care homes, 1 in 8 were rorting the system. We need transparency because I think it's going to help older people get the best possible care.
Dr. Russell, aged care homes, they've been pretty clear about what they need in terms of money. What do you think, though, that residents need?
I think residents need a high standard of care. So I think they need good direct care from registered nurses, personal care attendants who are well qualified, well trained. But we also need them to be well fed. The meals are terribly important to a resident, often the highlight of their day. They need to have activities that make them interested and engaged. And it is going to cost money. But I think we need to know, for example, we had an aged care home. It was a government, a not-for-profit aged care home that was paying exorbitant rents to the Greek Orthodox Church. People are, I guess you could say, cooking the books sometimes, and we know this, we've seen it, and I just think this transparency is so important.
Sarah, really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Hamish.
You're watching The Project. We'll be right back.